Shop smart, shop S-smart.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis.
I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is a first-timer on New Book Who Dis, Mr. Kris Faction. How you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good, That's right. I am the glorious and notorious Kris Faction, and I'm making a comic book.
That's right. That's what we talk about around these pods, comic books.
That's right.
You know, as you can see, all of my heroes are comic book characters, so you know it seems fitting that we're talking about comic books today.
Nice.
So what you reading currently, man? You reading anything that's tickling your fancy right now?
I just finished up Mark Polton's Writhe in Pain.
Hell yeah, Polton does a good job.
Fantastic. I told him, I was like, dude, this is your best writing yet. Like, I mean, it is fantastic.
Hell yeah, dude.
Highly recommend.
Polton does a good job, man.
I'm waiting on my copy of Ghosts of Matakumba Key. You know, it should be here. It's at some point. You know?
That's the thing. It's not necessarily the creator's fault. It's you know, waiting on the post to
exactly.
You know, get the shit to you.
Exactly.
Yet Graham's a fucking beast, man. He's a powerhouse. You know, I really and going back to Polton, I really enjoyed Viking Wolf. Viking Wolf is a great book. You know, Polton does a good job, man. There's a lot of really awesome, you know, talented creators in this scene. It is an embarrassment of riches as far as creative people over here, and it just seems to be getting better. You know, the indie scene is where it's at. I mean, I used to work in a comic shop. I worked in a comic shop for, from 2015 up until when we're in 2024, up until like August of 2022, I guess it was. And you know, I kind of watched the comics industry just kind of crumple and fold in on itself. You know, I mean, you know, it is what it is, but you know, I've done a lot of research on comics over the years. When I was in school, I would always do like research papers on comics because that's what I'm into. And you know, the indie scene is always what pushes the medium forward. You know, the mainstream will kind of get stagnant, and then the indie scene will pick up, and there'll be a creative boom in the indie scene, right? Mm-hmm. And then it will push the medium forward, and that's what we're doing over here. You know, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about over here. You know, I'm more excited to find out about new characters and what my favorite creators are doing with stuff that means something to them than I am, you know, the established characters. You know, I mean, I still love my old stuff, but I want something new. You know what I mean?
Same. And it's like, I mean, not only is it refreshing, it's exciting. You know, I mean, like, because there's so much out there in the indie scene that you can find whatever genre you're into, you can find a good story that you're gonna like.
Absolutely.
And even like I have kids, and my son, he'll actually be 12 in 10 days.
Oh wow,
8 days. But he lives in Germany and I live in Texas. And comics is like our way of, you know, like bonding over that distance or whatever. And I bought him,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I bought him, like, I mean, I'm always, you know, mailing him stuff or whatever, but I bought him this giant stack of Alterna stuff, you know, because
good choice.
Yeah, right. You know, and
yeah,
he's just like he got super stoked about King Cryptid. King
Cryptid is a great book,
dude, for real, you know. And I mean, like,
so well written. And it legitimately is all ages. You know, there's nothing in there that you would be afraid to give to your kid. You know, it's good adventure stuff for them to read. Yeah. Good call.
Man. And that's I mean, that's like, that's what's so fun is
Mhm.
is like being able to, because you know I started reading comics when I was a kid,
Same.
and to have that, you know, because like he's always been into superheroes. His initials are literally DC, and that was done on purpose.
Right.
His bedroom has always been comic book themed. His favorite superhero in the world is Batman, you know, but it was
Heck
getting to
yeah.
a point where I was like, I can't let you read this stuff, you know?
Right.
And so I had to find an alternative. And yeah, Pete Samedi puts out some really good alternatives there.
Pete
And
is fantastic, man.
yeah,
I love the work that he's doing. He's awesome. He loves comics. He knows how to tell a good story, and King Cryptid is a fantastic story. You know, I had
yeah.
Pete on the show a while back, and I got to read the first 4 issues. I can't wait to get the next ones. And I love those books, man. They have the feeling of like old school Marvel, you know, that just you're being immersed in this world, and you know there's a good narrative. You don't have to be told everything all at once, but it's slowly unfolding, and it gives little bits of information, and it builds on itself.
Yeah.
You know, and each issue is self-contained. You know, you get a full, you know, story in each issue, and then it just builds on itself and adds to it. But you don't feel like you're missing something if you haven't read anything that's come before. It's really well done. I'm so happy that I got a chance to read that.
Oh yeah,
And
he's done all this research into like cryptid sightings in the area of, and then you know I've heard him talk. I'm actually going to be on with him tomorrow.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'm like super excited to talk about stuff like this. You know,
Pete's a lot of fun to talk with, man.
right? And
Yeah.
I love that you know he's done his research into like all the cryptid sightings in that area around where the comic place, and then puts that, you know, in the story, and you know uses it to flesh out the world of King Cryptid.
100%, man. I actually went to college up in New Hampshire, so Pete and I had a lot of fun talking about stuff around that area. Yeah, I went to college in Dover, New Hampshire. It's near Somersworth and Portsmouth. So yeah, I love that area. New England is a beautiful area, and there's a lot of cool stuff up there. So are you into cryptids as well? Do you like that kind of thing?
I wouldn't say that I'm into cryptids. They're like, I live in Texas. Really, the only like, I mean, we have the Goat Man,
El Chupacabra,
and then yeah, the Chupacabra. Even though technically Chupacabra is Puerto Rican.
Yeah, totally.
You know, but yeah, people say they see. I mean, it's just, if you see a chupacabra in Texas, it's just a mangy coyote.
Yeah, basically. Now the thing you got to worry about out in them parts is skinwalkers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you're out walking alone, you hear somebody like hollering from the edge, just keep on walking. Do not acknowledge. Don't say nothing. Just keep on walking.
We got a few like interesting local legends that have ever since. So the town I grew up in, I live in Waco, and you know Waco, like I mean, people, you know, oh yeah, Waco or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember that name. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Historically, it's actually been like that for like not just the Branch Davidian issue, but one of the I think it actually was the last lynching that ever took place in Texas was in Waco.
Oh, okay, wow.
In the late 1800s, Waco was known as Six Shooter Junction, and it was the most violent city in the U.S.
Damn.
So Waco has this kind of history where like these terrible tragedies happen, and then you know, good things. Like right now, everybody talks about Waco's turned into a tourist town because of the Fixer Upper TV show.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And it's kind of strange, you know, as someone who grew up here, and like your town is turning into this trendy little. You're like, what is going on? Like you're not supposed to be. These college girls aren't supposed to be running through the park. That's where you get murdered. Don't go there. But now it's fine.
Gentrification, my friend.
Right?
Yeah, I live in a tourist town as well here in Florida, St. Augustine, nation's oldest city. So yeah, I understand that a little bit.
My local legends, or our local legends, have kind of started to get lost because we have this influx of people that didn't grow up here,
right?
And there's like there's this place down by the river that everybody calls Devil's Hill. It's really just like a trail that's kind of steep or whatever. And there's a legend about a lady that took her motorcycle down that hill, and a tree limb cut her head off.
Damn.
And so like the local legend is that the headless biker woman or whatever.
Oh damn! All right, hey, I mean, if Sleepy Hollow's got the headless horseman, you got the headless biker chick down in Texas. I mean, that seems kind of fitting, actually.
Yeah, right.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's say hi to the chat. We got Flying Feline. That's my lady right there. Skull Beautiful.
Nice.
Appreciate you being here as always. My partner in crime. She says hello, Chris. And then we got Good Stuff here. What's up, brother? Good to see you, sir. Thank you guys for being here.
His stuff is good.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Good Stuff actually helped you out on your trailer, right? He did your trailer for you.
He did my trailer, and he is awesome. Awesome. Does a great job.
Yeah, he does good work. Headless, like she don't give head. Well, I mean, she doesn't have a head to give, so yes, that is accurate. Good Stuff. Shit. So what before we jump into the trailer and the campaign, what was the impetus for Nano 13? Like, how long ago did this story start? I guess in your head.
The earliest iterations of the story were 20 plus years ago, like around when I was about 19 or so. Just started coming up with these ideas about these nano-powered heroes.
Nice.
And then it just kind of evolved from there. I would say it really came together around 2017. I had been out of the Army for about a year. And I think that just kind of solidified, like, I'm trying to create this tactical hero team, that has tech-based powers. That's when I started to kind of play around with the idea of an alien invasion and
nice.
Then figure out what kind of aliens they would be in their society and all that. And then, I was like, look, it's kind of like shit or get off the pot. It's like, I got this story. I may as well put it out there. Even my youngest brother, like when I told him I was making the book, he was like, oh, well, about time, dude.
Isn't that the way it always goes? You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing, and they're like, well, damn, we've just been waiting on you to do it.
Yeah,
that's how you can tell that they actually believe in you. They're like, well, shit, we've just been waiting.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Well, and I mean, they heard plenty of stories about the ideas that I had for the book,
right?
And all that, and they're like, dude, you should do it.
Just go ahead and do it. Yeah, I mean that's really the only thing to do is just to do it. Get it done.
That's right.
Let's just do it. So, hey, look at you go. 89% of the $1,500 goal with 45 days to go. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this awesome trailer that Good Stuff put together for you.
Heck yeah.
What up, PA? Good to see you, sir.
Disconnect from the
Killer trailer indeed.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. Dig it, man. And so the band that you're using, that what did I see, that Order of the Fly?
Yes.
Nice. Are they local to you?
No, they live out in San Bernardino, California. I toured with them in 2009, and we've stayed friends ever since.
Oh,
and,
awesome.
Their front man originally was going to do the trailer, but he was in the Army Reserves and came down on the deployment orders and was like, sorry. So thankfully, Goodstuff stepped in and helped me out.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you toured with them. Do you still play music?
Not so much anymore. I still play around, but I haven't been in a band since 2020. My last band after the fact, you can find us on all the streaming places, and we've got a music video up on YouTube called
Right on.
I think it's the song Narcissistic Rage. But it's kind of some punk rock, fun.
Yeah, man.
Fun punk rock, fuck the system punk rock.
I mean, that's what punk rock is supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
It's not quite that way anymore. Everything that's considered punk rock now is like, bow down to your corporate overlords and support the system, rage for the machine, as it were.
Buy music on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, hey, use the outlets that you have available, but
Sure.
At the same time, don't be licking the boots. But yeah, Goodstuff says glad he could help with the trailer. Yeah, you did a good job, man. That's good shit.
Oh yeah. It was fantastic.
All right, so Nano 13 got nano-powered soldiers fighting against aliens. That's pretty fucking rad. And this is the interior artwork. Who's doing your artwork for you?
Ron Masicki, Romo Art, and he's fantastic.
That's fucking great, dude. I'm digging the line work.
Yeah, he really. Once he read the script, he and I just had this synergy. There's so much stuff. He just really not just understood, the story, but the world that it was in. And I gave him complete freedom on almost everything. And
nice.
And because I'm the Romita Senior belief of the artist is the final storyteller. I'm not an artist. I'm not gonna,
right.
Gonna step on his toes. And
well, I mean, you hire somebody to do the artwork for your book because they know how to do the work. They can help you achieve your vision. So, did he come up with the character designs, or was this kind of like a back and forth thing?
No, the character designs are most of the characters are based off of people I know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So and it makes it helps write the story because it puts personalities in the characters and when I'm writing, say the big guy up top with the shotgun, he's based off of my best friend, John. I know what he'll say. I know what what decisions he'll make in a given situation. And he and I were both combat engineers in the Army, so I also we kind of have synergy on the way we think too.
Right.
And so yeah, it makes it a lot of times the story just kind of writes itself.
A lot of times when stories, are, when they've been kicking around in your head for that long and they need to be told, that happens, know. It just it kind of just tumbles out of you, and at that point it almost feels like you're not even necessarily writing the story, you're kind of receiving the story and you're just transcribing it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's freaking cool, man. And like you said, basing it off of people that it kind of helps to add depth to the character. It's anybody that watches my channel knows I'm about to use one of my favorite words in the English language, verisimilitude. You know, it makes it feel real. It adds that depth, that feeling of realism, you know, and it makes it feel real. It makes it feel grounded. You know, I think that's great. You know, that's what a lot of books are lacking. A lot of books just seem to be. I mean, I'm speaking of the mainstream stuff because, again, I used to work in a comic shop. Used to read a bunch of different stuff that was coming out, and it all just felt hollow. It all just felt, you know, like it was fake pastiche, you know, paper mache put together to look like set dressing rather than actual characters that you care about and you feel like the world is well thought out. So that's awesome, man. So what were your influences for this? Like what kind of stuff were you you know, reading back then when you were coming up with this?
I'm like a gritty sci-fi fan. So
Nice.
You know, like Battlestar Galactica, Space Above and Beyond.
Nice, dude.
You know, like those kind of like, you know, high intensity war story, you know, space war stories, even though we don't go into space here, but I'm not saying that we won't.
Right. Well, I mean, they got to take the planet back first, then they can take the fight to, you know, the alien overlord assholes. Yeah. But, damn aliens always trying to take over our planet. I mean, we know this planet's awesome, but y'all go find your own planet.
Yeah, and I would say like a lot of the kind of like grittier Marvel cosmic, you know, more old school Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
A lot of the Skrull stuff helped influence my like how I wanted the aliens to be in, you know, like, you know, the Skrulls are on same with the Kree, but they're all about Skrull superiority, you know.
Right.
And if you're gonna have alien overlords, like they have to have that supremacy attitude, you know, or else.
Well, they have to be oppressors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, otherwise the story kind of doesn't work if they're just like, oh, you know, we're trying to improve your planet. No, they're trying to enslave the human race. I mean, you got to listen. Sometimes bad guys just have to be bad guys.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that that's actually really important and lacking in mainstream comics today is I want my villains to be evil for the sake of being evil. You know, like I don't want you to sympathize with, you know, oh man, he had a hard childhood or what. Like, nah, man. Like
every malcontent has their reasons.
Yeah, right. Like this dude is bad, and he's bad because he's bad. You know.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that they're one-dimensional, but you know, it does mean that, you know, they're not like the sympathetic bad guy where, you know, you kind of understand where they're coming from, and it kind of sort of justifies, you know, they're taking over an entire planet. No, he's a bad guy. He's an asshole. They're oppressing, you know, because they want resources. You know, simple.
Yeah, and that's really, you know, they're an insectoid type race. They're obsessed with genetics and eugenics and you know, manipulation of DNA and things like that. You'll notice the villain in this story, he doesn't look very insect like. Well, he kind of experiments on himself. He you know, he might have looked insect like at one point, but
I see.
You know, and even with that, like a lot of people, oh, insectoid, like you think like hive mind, you know, this, you know what? I didn't want to necessarily do a hive mind like that, and I didn't want to have some queen, you know, like way up top. So they have this like oligarchy type society. There are queens. That doesn't mean that they're always in charge.
Right.
There are multiple hives in the galaxy or universe or ever how far out that goes. And in this book, Earth is controlled by what's called the Zist bloodline, and it's the Zist hive. You know, and each hive has its own like hierarchy and caste system.
Okay.
Things like that.
Doing something a little bit different with the insectoid hive mind, you know, type thing. That's cool, man. Trying to, we get, because there's been a lot of stories that have had, that kind of thing. It all depends on what you do with, how can you twist it a little bit? How can you change it a little bit? Because they say that, there's no original stories left, in the world, but it all depends on how you change it, how you make it your own, how you make it unique,
right? Oh yeah, for
add
sure.
a little bit of different flavor. And execution is key. And you got a fantastic artist. Looking to the artwork looks great on this book, man. I really dig the line work. And who's your colorist on this book? The colors are great.
Jay Brown. Most people know him from G.I. Joe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What like the IDW G.I. Joe stuff or Image?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, the colors are great. They're popping, man.
Oh, I know.
Really,
it was fantastic working with him. Because I mean, he sent me like a list of like, okay, what genre do you want your colors in? And I was like 90s sci-fi, and he was like,
totally.
Yeah, that's really the only answer for this book.
Totally. Absolutely, man. And this page right here is great. I mean, this just kind of screams 90s sci-fi right here, and I dig it. The line work, the colors, the panel placement. I mean, graphic elements. It's good stuff, man. I like it. And you got Mark Polton as your editor on this book. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's taught me a lot. This is my very first project. So, him, just being that kind of guide, let me know what's what. It's been incredible getting to work with him.
Well, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, Polton does good work, and he knows how to craft a good story. He knows how to put together a good yarn. So having him on the team to help you, help polish things up, that's a good idea. What's up, Mad Ruth? Good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping that link.
When he first read the script, he gave me a wonderful compliment. He said, this reminds me of Malibu Comics X Mutants. And I was like, oh, sweet.
Heck yeah, dude. I remember that book. I remember that. And then, actually, I think I still have a few of those.
And Jay Brown, when he was, going through, like, doing the colors and stuff, he was like, dude, I love this book because of it's just got so much action in it. When the guy that used to do G.I. Joe says he likes your book because of the action, you're going in the right direction.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a huge compliment, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Digging it for the action. So how many pages is this first book?
42.
42 pages, right on, man. And this is issue number 1, it says. So how many issues do you think this story is?
13.
13, nice. Lucky number 13.
Originally it was going to be 12, but I was like, come on, it's Nano 13. Like I have to do.
Yeah.
And that's just the first iteration of the story. So
the first iteration. Oh, okay. So I mean, this is kind of an epic story. So there could be other series. Are we talking like Nano 14 or?
So after issue 3, the story branches off into other titles, and those books will be your traditional like 24 page, and in each one, if I get what I want, each one will be 6 issues. And then it kind of all comes back around, and that 13th issue will be like a really big book because it's going to be this giant epic tale of, action, intrigue, violence.
Nice.
And, all that fun stuff.
Kind of like a capstone for this series.
Yeah. So everybody always asks me why Nano 13. Well, they're nano-powered superheroes,
right?
And there are 13 of them. This story focuses on the lead team of 4, And that's what this title will always focus on, those 4.
Okay.
But you're going to see 11 of the 13 in the first book. The other 2 are alluded to, and we'll get to those around issue 5. But there's a mystery going on.
Yeah, you gotta leave something, gotta leave something for the sequel. Gotta leave something for people to ask questions about and come back for.
Exactly. And then, I'm a big believer of, you remember those old Lost in Space episodes where my brother calling in the middle of me being on a show. He wants to come over and do laundry. I know it. I'll just text him. But how Lost in Space, like you would have everything wrap up, and then they would have this little kind of 1 minute, 2 minute story at the end of the episode that was the launch of the next episode.
Right.
And that's the storytelling approach that I take on this book. When you get to the last 3 pages, you're going to be like, oh, I got to get issue 2. Like,
there's setting the hook for the next issue. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. There's this like great reveal, and
you got to have a little bit of a cliffhanger. It teases the intrigue out. You get a whole story in the 42 pages, but then you have a setup for the next issue. Give a little taste of that next little bit of intrigue, so people are curious about the next book. Yeah,
and like this story has your typical villain of the week. Or whatever, but like there are many villains that will be encountered throughout this series, and just gotta keep going, man. Gotta keep going.
Absolutely, and it sounds like this first series is actually kind of setting up a larger universe that you could tell stories with.
Yes, yeah. So one of the things that I've been telling everybody. So this story takes place in Europe.
Okay.
The aliens, how they control the planet is through. I mean, it's absolute subjugation. Like there are free pockets of humans that live in hiding, which this group lives with one of the free cities in Europe.
Hell yeah.
But the aliens use each continent for a specific task, and the slaves are bred specifically to perform whatever task that continent is used for.
Right.
Europe is used for small arms manufacturing for their armies that are fighting an eternal enemy off in the cosmos somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And then, but as the world gets built, you're going to get to see what goes on in the other continents and what they're used for.
Heck yeah, man. That sounds awesome. And hey, it also sets up the dichotomy of enemy of my enemy, possibly an ally.
Possibly.
That's awesome. Getting out into the cosmos as well. That's a cool fucking setup, man. I like that.
Thank you.
Adds some intrigue. It's not just it's just oppression. It's again bad guys being bad guys, but there's subtlety, there's layers. There's not the bad guys aren't one dimensional. I like it, man.
Yeah. There's a reason that they've been on Earth, and they invaded Earth 3,000 years ago. So Bronze Age.
Wow. Okay.
They're pretty well entrenched. It's not
right.
It's not something new.
Not something recent. Okay.
Right. And they have weaknesses to the cold. So, in the Arctic and Antarctic Circle, they have no presence there. So there could possibly be some people living, hand to mouth almost, but
right.
Something.
Hey, find a way to live in some kind of dome or something like that. I mean, I come from the land of the ice and snow, so I mean, I'd be all right. I like the cold weather.
There you go. There
You
you
know,
go.
it's I like that, man. I like that. So let's see, $20 for 42 pages of action and intrigue.
That's right.
And got a simple campaign here, man. Just the book and then a retailer perk. That's awesome. You know,
Yeah,
little
the retailer perk is literally buy 5 books, get one free. Over on the show that I do with Mad Ruth and Jason Sandberg, the Friday
yeah.
nights, where we always encourage people to buy that retail tier
Heck
and
yeah, man.
take those extra ones to your local comic shop, and let's get these indies on the shelves.
Yeah, and that's always the biggest hurdle for indie books is getting a retailer to pick them up. I mean, I know when I was working at my local comic shop, trying to sell the owner on picking up indie books was always an uphill battle. When I worked there, I actually managed to sell quite a few copies of Jason's book, Absolute 1 and 2. I was also able to sell Merry Boys. I don't know if you're familiar with Chubb, who does Merry Boys over in the UK. He's great. Merry Boys is a fantastic book. If you can get a chance to grab those first 3 issues, they're fucking great, dude. But I had to get those books and then just sell them in the shop, and then we would work out the payment for them afterwards. But it's they don't want to take a risk, man. They're risk averse, and that's because with shops the profit margin is razor thin. Absolutely razor thin on those books, and you get to the point these days where they're really ordering a bunch of books just so they can get a 1 in 20, 1 in 25, 1 in 250 variant.
I know.
Like it's unreal. So I mean, trying to get into shops, the traditional way with a brand new indie comic is even more of a Sisyphean struggle. So yeah, I agree. If you guys can grab these and take them to your LCS, and if they can put them up on the shelf and maybe just give you store credit or a little kickback on the back end, something like that, help get the books out into
talk
the
to your
stores.
local shop and see what kind of deals they make. There's a group of guys that are indie creators here in Waco that have their book on the shelves in our LCS, and I don't recommend it because it's DIY garbage or DIE garbage, but
DEI.
Yeah. It's actually,
and seeing the issues coming out on the stands, like I was actually on a stream with Pete Samedi and Razorfist, and because Razorfist worked in a comic shop back in the day, and I told him the years that I worked in a comic shop, and he's like, oh, so you had a front row seat to the comic book apocalypse, essentially, the downfall of comics. I was like, yeah, basically. So just watching Batman go from selling like 20, 25 issues each and every month down to 3.
Yeah.
Like that's huge, and it just, the stories were not compelling. They're not fun to read. They're not enjoyable. Some of the artwork would still be okay. And that actually kind of went away over time as well. But I would ask people, hey, so how's this book? You've been picking it up for a long time. How is the story? And it's okay, I guess. Yeah. I'm just picking it up because I've been getting all of them. And that's a fucking terrible reason to keep reading a book. Like that's the reason why we end up with stories with horrible, these books with horrible stories, is that people just keep picking them up just because they have all of them. They've got us hooked through that collector's mentality.
Yep. But eventually the market does what the market does, and people get upset and they're like, okay, I just can't, that they'll pick up that last book not knowing it's going to be the last Batman book that they're going to buy.
Yep.
And they'll get to the end of it and they'll be like, I am done. I am so done. And then hopefully they find indies and come over to the indie space, because I mean, you're gonna get such good stories over on this side, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stories, and there's the thing that is missing from the mainstream is passion in storytelling. When you come over to the indie sector and you see all these different books that are being put out, people got skin in the game. You know, they actually have a reason to make this book good. They want this book to succeed because, you know, one, the story means something to them, and two, they're actually putting blood, sweat, and tears, and oftentimes their own money into getting this book made.
Yeah.
So they need it to succeed so that they can keep making the book. You know, it's a passion project, yes, but at the same time, it's also, you know, it's something that they need to have succeed. They need to put the work into it to have it succeed, so they can keep making them. You know,
exactly. It was really important to me for this first book that I rose to the challenge and funded making the book myself.
Yeah,
because I just thought, like, one, if I'm gonna do this,
Jim Cox?
I need to know that I can put in the work, take the stress load, you know, all of that. You know, and yeah, you know, like, it's an investment in yourself, and I, for real, once the backers, you know, at the end of this campaign, once the backers get the book and they read it, I guarantee they're going to want to show it to their friends, and, you know, and we're going to keep rolling with it because, you know, it's like, not to toot my own horn, it is a lot of fun. Like, this book is a whole lot of fun.
Well, comic books made by comic fans for comic fans.
Right.
You know, I hate to keep going back to the whole mainstream thing, but, you know, I saw a lot of poorly constructed stories that were obviously made by people that weren't fans of comics, writing comics. And this is an argument that I've made a lot, is that a lot of the people that are currently writing the mainstream books, they don't care about comics. They don't care about telling a compelling story in comics. They want to use it as a stepping stone to get to something else. And the thing about comics is you got to be in it to write comics. You got to be in it to make comics. Not, oh, well, this is just a failed movie script that I put together, and, you know, this is a proof of concept so I can take it to Netflix. No. You're either in it to make comics or you're going to fail. There's no two ways about it.
Exactly. I think pretty much any comic book creator, whether they be mainstream or indie, is like, man, that would be so cool to have my idea turned into a movie or a show or something like that. But that's not what you're doing it for. You're making comics to make comics. And sure, one day, you know, maybe somebody makes some sort of, you know, film adaptation or whatever. That would be cool, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking to make comics. I'm looking to write a cool story that people enjoy, you know, the escapism of it. Like, you know, just
in it to make comics.
Yeah. Like have fun with it, you know, have fun with it. And if someone comes along and is like, you know, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so with Netflix, we'd like to make your stuff into a TV series, I'd be like, as long as I have all the rights to, you are not messing up my story.
Sure, we can do this, but I have final say on what the scripts are, and you're not changing a damn thing.
Exactly. And that's, you look at the success of, say, the One Piece live action or whatever. That is because, you know, I'm not an anime guy. I'm not a manga guy or whatever.
I'm not a big fan of One Piece, but I have heard that a lot of people are like, this is great. You know, they actually did it justice, which is cool.
See, and that's, exactly. And from what I understand is the creator of One Piece was, you know, was like, I have final say on everything. And they said, okay, let's do it. And that's why it is, you know, like a true adaptation.
See, there you go. And I mean, you can compare that to the absolute and utter failure that was the Cowboy Bebop live action adaptation, which was fucking abysmal.
Oh my gosh!
I love the original Cowboy Bebop anime. I think it's fantastic. You know, I love the stories, and that live action adaptation was such bullshit. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I made it to the end of the series, but
I did too, but you know, I had to go take a shower afterwards.
yeah, right.
I mean, you know, I mean, I hate to bitch and complain all the time, but that was bad.
It
You know,
was.
we need less of that, more of the One Piece adaptation. And what it's going to take is creators being like, no, I have final say, and you're not changing things. You know,
Exactly.
stick to the original. You know, the original story.
I think a lot of times, these creators, they get flashed a bunch of cash,
Mhm.
and they don't think past that payout. And it's like, if they ruin your legacy, that it's not worth the money.
No, it's not.
It's really not.
You know, they have to be willing to walk away from it and be like, all right, well, you know, you came to me and wanted this, and these are my terms. Take it or leave it.
Look at what has been done to Tolkien over, you know, I mean, my goodness, you know, I still love the Lord of the Rings movies, and a lot of times I'm like, look, they would have had to have been 8-hour movies each one if all of the information was in there. And I'm totally fine with them condensing it to, like, okay, we got to sell popcorn.
I mean, the movies were 3 hours, like the director's cuts were like 3 hours long as they were.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Then you get into The Hobbit and you start to see where they were just taking out stuff that was lore and inserting things that have nothing to do with it. It was just made up. And then you get to the Rings of Power and it's like, oh, hey guys, like we literally shit in a bag and threw it at your front door. I hope you like it. Tolkien's name's on it.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they kind of just took the name. See, that's the thing. A lot of these things will take a recognizable brand name and they'll staple it onto some new story that they've just kind of concocted that has absolutely nothing to do with the source material. They just want that name and that brand recognition so that they can use it and get people in the door. And that's awful. Like we need to stop supporting all of that kind of nonsense.
It's so crazy to me, like especially with the comic book movie craze, that happened with the MCU, is like you literally have all of your storyboards done. Like you can skip that process. You can save money on so much, like you have
like Zack Snyder did with 300.
Right. Exactly.
And look how good that turned out.
It turned out great. It's like stick with the source material. If it's on a panel, it should most definitely be in the film. There's like, it's not like the artist is just drawing the panel as like, this one doesn't really matter, in the storytelling. No, man. Like I said, you've already have your story storyboarded, but they're like, nah, let's start from scratch. And
well, I think the problem is a lot of the writers in Hollywood think that they know better. They know how to write better than the writers that have kept the industry going for 80 some odd years.
Yeah, one, they think they know better, and two, I'm pretty sure that they just hate the fans. Like they're just like, we want to get these people out of here and make our own fans,
and that's worked out so well for them.
Yeah.
If you look at the first few movies of the MCU, like they had comic writers in, and they were people that actually cared about the characters. They understood the characters, and they were crafting these stories that were very closely hewn to the source material. And then as the MCU went on, it's just kind of like, yeah, we're going to throw the source material out. We're just going to use the names and yeah.
You remember at the little stinger at the end of the first Avengers movie or whatever, when the other is talking to Thanos and he says, to court them is to court death. He's talking about Earth. And then you're like, oh, sweet. Thanos is trying to court death.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, several movies later, like, oh, I want balance in the universe or whatever.
That is my prime example of taking a character that is just, he's evil. Thanos was evil. He was out to murk half the universe just so he could get busy with, you know, Mistress Death. Yeah. That was his motivation, you know, and you know they gave him they gave him better motivation so that he was more sympathetic to the audience. Like, no, he's a bad guy. He's evil. Yeah. Evil. You know?
He literally, like, his motivation in the comics was, I want to impress a girl. Mm-hmm. And that's like actually really good motivation. It's like, I'm evil. Mm-hmm. I want to impress a girl. Mm-hmm. Let me do evil to impress the girl. Oh.
Yeah, well, Mistress Death came to Thanos and was like, I'm pissed that there are more things alive than have ever been dead. Fix it.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'll do that. And so he goes on this quest to get the Infinity Stones and, you know, destroy half the universe.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't about balance. He didn't give a fuck about balance.
No.
Yep.
You know, and
so I mean, and that's what I mean. Like they think they know better than the comic books. And you know, sometimes things that work in comics wouldn't work in film, and I understand that. Sure. But overall, the stories, the way they're told in the comic books would work just fine in movies. You know, comics are a unique medium, and we can do certain things with storytelling mechanics that you can't do in movies. But like the broad strokes, the basic beats of a comic book work just fine in a movie. Mm-hmm. You know,
exactly,
especially visually.
Oh
so,
yeah. I mean, I look at the first Sin City.
Exactly.
Because I mean, that story is way over the top and bombastic, and you know. And by all rights, like, you should look at it and be like, this is never going to work live action. If you're thinking like your typical Hollywood, you know, elitist type or whatever. But you throw it together and you make the movie literally like almost panel by panel from the graphic novel. And everyone loves it. Everyone raves and rants about it, you know, and is like, this is fantastic. Well, yeah, because you took something that people already loved and you put it on screen for them to, you know, watch. Like, of course.
Yeah. Well, and Robert Rodriguez is he's a huge nerd. He's a comic fan. You know, he didn't want to make Robert Rodriguez's Sin City. He wanted to make Frank Miller's Sin City.
Exactly.
And that's what he did. And, you know, I would even say that extends to the second one. You know, if you watch them back to back, the second one is just as good as the first one. It's just they waited almost 10 years to make it. So the first one got this, you know, this level of cult film following that the second one just, there was no way it was going to live up to the hype. So, I mean, it got shit on for no reason. But if you honestly sit down and watch them both back to back, they're both just as good.
Yeah. I've actually only watched the second one once. Yeah.
Oh, see, I've watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, I should probably go back and watch it again. Well, what burned me is I watched the second 300 movie and I was like, oh, this is crap. And so I guess I was just like, you know what? You know, I probably wasn't even paying attention to the when I watched the second Sin City or whatever. But you know, yeah, I'll go back.
Yeah, go back and watch. Yeah, go back and watch all of them or both of them at the same time, like one after the other, and see what you think.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Definitely.
You know, because I watched the first Sin City before I went to go see the second Sin City in theaters, and I you know, it was the same. You know, it was the same level of quality.
Yeah, see, that's what I need to do. I just need to watch them back to back. I'm actually did you ever watch Code 8? It was, I think it came out on Netflix. So it was the guy that played Green Arrow in the TV show. Stephen
Amell.
Yeah. So him and his brother made a superhero movie and it came out on Netflix. Well, the sequel just came out like last week or a couple of weeks ago or something like that. And
Okay.
and yeah, I'm gonna watch them both back to back. The first one was really good. It was an interesting world where like the people that have powers are like super oppressed. They have to like register. They're not allowed to use their powers,
Right.
and all the powers, like there's only like you either get like electric powers or water powers. Like it's not like an X-Men style free for all on powers.
Right.
There's only a few types, and yeah, so it's this interesting like kind of authoritarian style thing going on, and then these guys, just trying to live their lives like there's I think there's like a dude that he's like an electrician, but he has electric powers, so
Right.
he's like, I can actually help with my my trade or whatever, and then they're like, no, let's throw you in jail.
Wow. That sounds cool. Yeah, Jimmy's saying Code 8 has a part 2, and that's what he was just saying.
Yeah.
And
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
and sorry, my mic was hot, guys. I might have been leaning into my microphone a bit too much. But,
oh, by the way, what's up, Jimmy?
Yeah. Good to see you, dude. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been going for about an hour here. Anything else you want to say about Nano 13? Anything that we haven't touched on just yet? When are you looking to fulfill? I guess is the question I should ask.
So it should see lettering just finished. So
Nice.
we're gonna have Mark will give it one last once over, and once he gives his thumbs up, it will go to the printer. I am trying really, really hard to have it at Critical Blast Warehouse by the time the campaign ends, if not then the week after it ends, and we will start fulfillment immediately. The campaign ends on April 18th.
April 18th, you guys. You got 45 days, but don't sleep on this. Go ahead and get it.
Yeah. Well, tell the Kings we said hi.
Yep. Have fun, Jimmy. And we'll maybe see you tomorrow for topic list, dude.
There you go.
Yeah. But that's awesome, man. That's a quick turnaround, man. And that's people like that. People love having like a quick turnaround like that. So that could be a new precedent, have the book in works and predominantly done by the time that the campaign ends. You can, have it sent to the printer and there you go.
I'm trying.
Yeah, dude. Well, the book looks fantastic.
Thank you.
What's up, Seth? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out, dude. We're actually getting ready to wrap up. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer one more time.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.